Hi team, you're about to actually tune into an interview with the fantastic James Crow. Now James started his career 15 years ago in property management. We're going to see that journey unfold in this interview. I really want you to pick up process, I really want you to pick up his hard work, and I absolutely want you to pick up his communication and his ability to have tough love conversations with vendors when you need to. Tune in and enjoy. So James, awesome to actually be sitting down with you having a chat about your career, where you're at, I guess also where you started from, and then talking about some of the really cool things you're doing today.
Sure.
Yep,
Thanks
excellent. Yeah, pleasure. So you started in property management, which is sort of step back in time 15 years ago,
yes.
with Morton,
That's
which
correct,
is brilliant. Do you want to just talk about that journey and sort of where you are sort of today?
Sure. Yeah, so I guess my real estate's been my career since I left school when I was, 18? So I was actually in Balmain for about 8 of those years before joining Morton. So I've been there now 15 years. I originally joined as a property manager in our Woolloomooloo Finger Wharf office. And I guess back then we were, it was a while ago, we're very much the conventional real estate where you didn't have your leasing consultants or new biz or anything like that. So I was pretty much property manager. I did the leasing, I did the arrears. You and even tried to get me to do trust accounting. That was a big mistake. But so I cut my teeth in property management, which was obviously I enjoyed, big workload. But
and in those days, you literally did everything, didn't you? Like it was across the board. As you're saying, it wasn't sort of chunked down like it was in the business today.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So a bit of a jack of all trades back then. So you're managing repairs and maintenance and, as I say, arrears, showing property, dealing with your landlords and tenants. So I guess it gave me a good grounding for the real estate industry. As I say, I enjoyed it because you're always busy.
Yeah.
You'd sort of work your butt off from Monday, you'd start getting things under control by Friday, and then you'd go home for the weekend and come back and it'd be out of control again Monday. You'd just do it all again. So I actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But from there, Morton evolved as a business. We were a lot smaller then, and as we grew, Ewan's always been into training and obviously always made sure we were into it. And from there, I guess that's where we started to see things evolve, where you had, let's start splitting it, and people had different skill sets. You had good leasing people, you had good new biz, but new biz is somewhere where we first went, where we started to change up because we saw or recognised the need for organic growth, and that needed someone solely focused on new business, basically signing up new landlords, and that was a job that was created and I took on. So I guess that was my first step from property management into a sales type role, and from there we actually grew quite quickly through some good relationships that Ewan established with Multiplex and people like that, doing new buildings. So I was lucky enough where, for example, Darling Island Piermont was one where we went in there and managed to basically speak to everybody that had purchased in there and basically signed up as many of these as we could, and that turned out to be a good model for a few buildings for us. And that enabled me to establish myself in the one area. So I started building relationships with these clients very early on in what we call strongholds, so key buildings, which I still manage today in a sales role.
That's good. So really, if you think about it, it's a little bit unique in terms of that way in and working in that one marketplace for that length of time. It must give you one amazing product knowledge. Almost like, that's apartment on the 15th floor. Yeah, the view's amazing from that. You're having those kind of conversations, I'd imagine.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And then the decision to obviously move into sales. How long ago was that?
It was only about 6 years ago. I think I'm in my 6th or 7th year now. So you and other people, come on, Jim, you should be in sales. I'm like, nah, I like new biz. I was probably older than most of the other new biz guys out there, and I did have good product knowledge, and I was probably a bit comfortable. So I just wanted to do that because I could do it and do it well, and I had a good closing rate. But eventually I said, all right, I'll have a crack, and I should have done it sooner. But I think one advantage I had was because I was a new biz and I had established a lot of these relationships, and not just at Darling Island, but obviously once you start sort of getting a good reputation in one building. Obviously, people know each other. We know real estate's a hot topic amongst social circles.
Absolutely.
So I did get a good client base in Pyrmont, so that when I actually went from new business into sales, the transition for me was probably a lot easier than other people. I was probably a little bit older. I had the relationship, so it was a very easy phone call just to ring up and say, "Hey Michael, how you doing? Just thought you'd be interested to know I've actually moved into sales with Morton." So that was well received with a lot of people.
Great.
And I think a lot of people wanted to see me do well, so I got a lot of opportunities straight off the bat. Yeah,
that's very good. Excellent. And your first year, what sort of did you?
The first year I wrote 500 GCI, and that was when Jackie Smith got involved, and that was instrumental with regards to dialogue, accountability. Jackie told me things I hadn't heard before. And process, particularly. That's probably the biggest thing I've learned is being process driven, and I have a process that I'll follow pretty much to the absolute letter, regarding if it's a $600,000 one better or a $4 million three better on the water sort of thing.
Yeah. So we'll actually drill into the process side of it in a minute. One of the things that I know, and Ewan tells me this, that you're incredibly hardworking, you're incredibly diligent in terms of your follow through and attention to detail. Can we talk a little bit about your work style?
Sure.
Yeah. So early starter.
So my day, pretty much I'm in the office by 7:30 every morning, mainly because I like to be in there early. Basically, no disruptions, phones aren't going. So in that time, the first thing I'll do is, I'm still a bit old school. I understand the fact we need a database, but my trusty assistant Sarah pretty much looks after that. So I'll basically have my to-do list. So on that, I'm looking at my spreadsheet, which is my pipeline A's, B's, and I'm really just saying, okay, well, priority today. What do I need to be doing personally? And that's generally going to be what offers am I expecting, what negotiations am I expecting to be doing, obviously my feedback, buyer follow-up, any difficult conversations, are things not going as they should be. So they're things I would prioritise, and then I'll look at everything else and say, right, what can be delegated? And that'll be the written reports. It may be chasing up appraisals, it may be getting out these letters to this building or that building, letterbox drops, whatever. All that stuff I'll pretty much delegate to Sarah and our marketing team. So I like to start my day, pretty much I plan every day, one day moving forward. And it works for me because as I do it, I'm ticking things off and sense of achievement as I go. And I'll have whips, which I've probably got from you guys, just sort of your work in progress throughout the day. We'll stop for 5 minutes, right where you're at with that sort of thing.
Great.
So really my day is I make sure that all my emails are answered before 8:30. My day's planned before 8:30 when Sarah comes in. We'll have a quick meeting and then it's go. She can do all that, and then I'm pretty much on the phone or at inspections.
Yeah, fantastic.
So face-to-faces, buyer, listing prezos, phone calls.
Yeah, very good. So good early start, totally focus on what you need to do, work your priorities well and truly, and then what else can you actually delegate so you stay focused on the main aim of the game?
That's, Yep. It's hard. So I found that difficult, delegating and getting sort of pulled back into the stuff that can be delegated. So I've had to work hard at putting my trust in Sarah, which I can do because she's very good. So
let go to grow, which is good. Excellent. Okay, on the process side of things, one of the things that I know Jackie's been great at within Morton is really honing in on demonstrating and making process a part of the way you do business. Do you want to talk about maybe an auction campaign and what level of process is in there?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I've learned is it's paramount. I don't think how you can effectively sell without a process. Or I'm very structured now the way I follow that. So it'll start from your listing presentation. Obviously you're sitting there, you're listening, you're talking about methods of sale. Have you got any thoughts on that? But let's just fast forward. You've signed them up. It's going to be an auction campaign. So first thing we'll do is between signing them up and it actually going to market, there's a lot of communication there, with regards to getting prepared, and that may be Sarah as much as me with regards to photography and floor plans and presentation and styling and all that sort of stuff. But then the process will be what we call a pre-campaign strategy meeting or a set up a sell meeting. So we'll always have that. That has to be after the listing prezzo, and that's really just about setting an expectation, making sure they know what I'm doing in the background, make sure I'm meeting their expectations. Points I'll cover off in that meeting are things that will inevitably come up in the campaign, and I want to pre-frame it so there are no surprises. And they're things like our communication, how we'll go about negotiating, what our open times are, what we're doing from a marketing point of view, what the next steps are. Basically our meetings each week face to face, where I'll produce a report and talk about our buyers and the feedback. And as I say, it's really designed. I mean, to give you an example, I'll always cover off, and I've learnt the hard way with this one, is that you'll cover off that in some instances, particularly in this market, we may get a really strong offer early, and whilst that hasn't happened yet, we'll cross that bridge if it comes to it. But we need to be prepared, because it can be difficult for an owner to try and, if it was that easy to get so quickly, they could think other offers are going to be that easy, when often they're not. So we just pre-frame that it can happen. If it happens, it's a good problem to deal with, or it's a good thing that we've got here, but it doesn't always necessarily mean we're going to get more. So what we do is try and position it where we can still get a couple more opens under our belt and gauge feedback from the market. But it's important that you're pre-framing that, because otherwise you can lose their expectations can get out of whack. And still, how do we keep that buyer engaged while we're looking to generate other buyers to put those buyers into competition? So pre-campaign strategy meeting, we're doing obviously buyer follow-ups on Mondays, and after the Wednesday or Thursday open, we're doing weekly face-to-faces or Skype. We've got clients from overseas. Those weekly meetings we like to do on a Tuesday, because it's sort of like each week moving forward for the auction campaign.
Great.
In the last week of an auction, we'll have two meetings. We'll have the Tuesday meeting, which is really just the progress meeting, where we're at, who are our buyers, which ones we feel are the strongest ones, whether they're on price, whether they've had building and pest strata search done, pre-auction offers, all that sort of thing. And in that last week on the Thursday, we'll also have an auction meeting, which is essentially going through who our buyers are. And by that stage, we're pretty much on who's in, who's out. You can almost grade, from number 1 to 4 or 5.
What they bid on, what have they missed out on, all those sorts of things. That would give a huge amount of confidence to the vendor, that and you're demonstrating and showing them the work you've actually done.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I think, but by that stage in the campaign, they've had a lot of feedback, so they're feeling very much informed. They're really you're at a stage there where, obviously in this market, most of the time it's great where you probably set it up nicely where you could have one of these results where things are going, to reserve or beyond. But it's probably even more important in a tougher market where maybe things aren't going as well as expected. I think that I've got one at the moment, for example, which there have been some curveballs, but I guess I've just had to deal with that and have tough conversations with the owners.
Let's talk about the tough conversations. So how do you set that up? If it's not going to plan, right? I mean, we want it always to go to plan, but hang on, we're talking real estate here, so things aren't going to go to plan.
Well, this is an interesting one in that it's a house. It's got without going into too much detail, it's got a stormwater easement running straight through the side of it. The demographic that's been interested are young professionals with kids on the way, or young kids, and they're all looking at it to renovate. But this stormwater has caused a lot of complications with regard to whether you can actually renovate on it. So we've actually lost a lot of buyers because of that. We had original pricing of 1.6 to 1.7, and I was at the beginning of the campaign thinking we'll be bumping that up as we build interest. But in fact, we've lost a lot of buyers. So really,
as soon as they want to go to building, or as soon as they know that about the property.
So advice from architects, builders, council, that sort of thing. So look, basically all I've done is I've looked at it and said, okay, we've got a problem here. We could go the hope strategy and keep quoting at 1.6 to 1.7 and just hope someone sticks the hand up. But that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. So I've gone around and I've had a tough conversation and just pretty much said, look, you've got a big block here. The problem is people are discounting on the fact that regardless of it being a big block, you can't build on it, or there's a perceived complication around that.
There's a question mark.
Yeah. So I said, look, I still said, look, we're still doing well. We still have interest, but at the end of the day, what's important now is that our momentum has halted. We need to keep that momentum going, and on that basis of our complication, I would suggest that we basically amend our quoting. And
amend is a great word, by the way.
Amend
a line,
rather than drop.
But
I just sort of said, look, unfortunately, I don't like to give you this advice, but I'm giving you the advice as to what I think is necessary for you to get a result on Saturday. Now, at the end of the day, you don't have to sell. My job is to give you an option to sell. And I don't give this advice lightly, but this, in my professional opinion, is what you need to do in order to make sure you put yourself in a position to have competition on the day. Because ultimately, competition is what's going to... the market will pay what the market pays. But right now, we need more people on deck at the auction. So
fantastic. Very good. Very good. So any other final tip that you would say has made a difference in terms of your career and building your success?
Look, as I say, I would just say, particularly in this day and age where the information for the consumer, whether you're a buyer or a seller, it's out there if they want to find it. I just find that you just got to go out there and basically and be a provider of information and be frank and upfront. I think
you've got a low. I'll call it a low wanker value. So high integrity, you're the real deal. So when you meet you, and I think that comes through in your marketing as well, that it's not so much brag marketing; it's more that inform, educate kind of marketing.
Yeah, and I think there was a time there where basically number one record sale, all this sort of stuff. Whereas now I just try and stick to, as I say, anyone can get online now and research who's getting results, where you're ranked in the marketplace and all that. So that information's there for people to see anyway. I just want to be the one that is, I position myself as being someone that you can go to if you just want frank, honest advice. And I think your results, as I say, they're recorded, so you can stand by your results. And I think your results and I think money and all that stuff is a byproduct of basically setting out to do the right thing by both the seller and the buyer. Because obviously my job is to act in the best interest of the vendor. They're the ones paying my fee. But today's buyers are tomorrow's sellers, so you've got to look after both parties. My aim is to come out of a transaction wherever possible with both parties after the initial negotiation and tenseness. After the dust is settled and the deal's done, that both parties are really happy.
Fantastic. Well, James, thanks so much.
Pleasure.
For sharing those insights.
My pleasure. Thanks,
wish you well for this year and beyond. I know it's going to be a great year for you, and you've got a lot of things in place to get out there and make it happen. So thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Whether you're running an independent agency or part of a franchise group, one of the things that we absolutely know is you need access to the best leadership strategies on the planet. So on the 11th and 12th of September on the Gold Coast, you have the opportunity to be involved in the business of real estate. 2 amazing days where we bring together leaders both within the industry and also external to the industry to share leadership strategies to actually allow you to go to the next level within your business. It's in its 4th year now, and there's no question about it. It is, for a lot of leaders, the standout leadership conference within the industry. I think the thing that's different about it is when we actually sit down and do the planning for the business of real estate, we firstly begin not by who can we get to the business of real estate to speak. We firstly start with what do leaders of the leading agencies across Australia and New Zealand need to hear and learn and uncover to really allow the businesses to go to the next level, to build amazing teams, to have people who want to play, stay and perform in such a way that they can stand out in the marketplace. From there, we look at, well, who in the business, who in the market are doing those particular things brilliantly well. And by bringing that together, we create an agenda and a level of speaker within the business of real estate that's never been seen before within real estate. It would be absolutely outstanding for you to be there, to network, to experience these amazing learnings. We'd love to work with you and help you go to the next level in your business performance.